Hey everybody, Spooky Marshmallow here, and today we are going to be talking about Ghosts of Alcatraz, so let's get right into it. Native Americans referred to it as Evil Island. While the island served as a federal penitentiary, several guards reported extraordinary experiences, including hearing the sounds of sobbing and moaning, terrible smells, and reports of what they called the Thing, a creature with red eyes. Other reports were made of phantom prisoners and soldiers appearing before the guards and families who lived on the island. Warden Johnston, who did not believe in ghosts, experienced some ghostly encounters. Once encountered the unmistakable sounds of a woman sobbing while leading several guests on a tour of the prison. The cries, heard by the warden and the guests, were described as coming from inside the walls. Just as the sobbing stopped, an icy cold wind blew through the group. Since the 1940s, apparitions have been seen at the site of the now burned-out shell of the warden's house. During a Christmas party at Warden Johnston's, several guards told the story of a ghostly man who suddenly appeared before them, wearing a gray suit, brimmed hat, and sporting mutton chop sideburns. As the startled guests stared at the apparition, the room suddenly turned very cold, and the fire in the stove was extinguished. Less than a minute later, the spirit vanished. Often it has been reported that the old lighthouse will suddenly appear on foggy nights, accompanied by an eerie whistling sound and a flashing green light that makes its way slowly around the island. Appearing to both guards and visitors alike, the spectacle vanishes just as suddenly as it appears. When the prison was still open, other guards told of hearing phantom cannon and gunshots, accompanied by screams that were so real they sent the seasoned guards to the ground, believing that the prisoners had somehow escaped and obtained weapons. After taking cover, the guards would then cautiously look about to see absolutely nothing. These incidents could never be explained. Another often reported experience of the guards was the smell of smoke. It often came from a deserted laundry room, as if something was on fire. When they investigated, the black smoke was so thick it drove the guards from the room. However, just minutes later, the room was completely smoke-free. The notorious D block of the prison is said to have been, and continues to be, the most haunted block in all the prison. While first built the same as the other cell blocks, the Bureau of Prisons appropriated additional money for more secure D block after the 1939 escape attempt, in which author Doc Barker was killed. D block, which became known as the treatment unit, comprised of 42 cells with varying degrees of restrictions. For all prisoners incarcerated in D block, there was no contact with the general population. 36 of the cells were virtually like the others in the general population. However, inmates were not allowed to work nor go to the mess hall for meals. They were allowed only one visit to the recreation yard and 2 showers each week, and all meals were served in the cells. Their only diversion was reading of prison-approved material. These cells all faced to the Golden Gate Bridge, from which fierce cold winds often blew. One guard who worked D block was known to turn on the air conditioning to make it even colder for those confined on the block. 5 of the remaining 6 cells in D block were known as strip cells, but were more often referred to as the hole, reserved for the most severe offenders of prison rules. These cells were located on the bottom tier, the coldest place in the prison, and contained only a sink, a toilet, and a low-wattage light bulb that the guards could turn off. The prisoners' mattresses were taken away during the day, and they were not allowed at any time in the yard or showers or given reading materials. Inmates could be sentenced to as many as 19 days in the hole, completely isolated and in a state of constant boredom. Inmates were placed naked in the cell, given a restricted diet, and confined in a pitch-black cold environment. Although a sleeping mattress was allowed at night, it was removed at dawn each morning. Inmates were usually only subject to this degree of punishment for only 1 to 2 days. A former guard who worked at the prison in the 1940s reported that guards often saw the ghostly presence of a man dressed in late 1800s prison attire walking the hallway next to the strip cells. On one occasion, when an inmate was locked in the hole, he immediately began to scream that someone with glowing eyes was in there with him. The 19th century spectral prisoner had become so much of a practical joke among the guards that the convicts' cries of being attacked were ignored. The inmates' screams continued well into the night when they were suddenly replaced by total silence. When the guards inspected the cell the following morning, the convict was found dead with a terrible expression on his face and noticeable handprints around his throat. The autopsy revealed that the strangulation was not self-inflicted. At the time, many believed the inmate was strangled by a guard who had finally had enough of the inmate's screaming. Through an investigation, no one ever admitted to the strangling. Most believe that the prisoner was killed by the restless, evil spirit of the 19th century prisoner, who was often seen wandering the corridors. According to the mystery, when the guards line up the convicts for a daily count, one too many convicts were in the lineup. At the end of the row appeared the recently strangled convict. As everyone, guards and prisoners alike, looked on in stunned silence, the ghostly figure vanished. Today's visitors and staff often report cold spots within the hallways of D Block, as well as sudden intense feelings. Cells 12 and 14D are the most active. Cell 14D is often reported to be almost 20 degrees colder than the rest of the cells on the block, and numerous psychics have felt emotionally charged impressions in the corners of the cells. These cells are so eerie that it is said that some park rangers refuse to go there alone. When authors Richard Weiner and Nancy Osborne, authors of the book Haunted Houses, made a trip to Alcatraz, they also felt eerie feelings in cell 14D. When the pair entered the cell along with a park ranger, they all felt strong vibrations and tingling sensations in their hands and arms. Convinced that something or someone was there with them, Osborne stated that she had never felt so much psychic energy in one spot. In cell block C, many believe that the utility passageway where convicts Bernard Coy, Joseph Kretzer, and Marvin Hubbard were killed during their escape attempt in 1946 is also haunted. Loud, clanging noises are often heard but stop when the door is opened, only to resume once closed. Others have reported seeing the apparitions of men wearing fatigues and hearing disembodied voices at the riot site that left the 3 prisoners dead. The laundry room in cell block C is also said to hold an unseen presence. When a CBS News team brought a celebrity psychic, Sylvia Brown, along with ex-convict Leon Thompson, Sylvia immediately encountered the unseen presence and strong impressions of violence in the laundry room. As she described a tall man with a bald head and small beady eyes, Leon Thompson, the ex-convict, moved forward, stating, quote, "I remember Butcher. He was a hitman with Murder Incorporated before they caught him. His name was Abby Maldowitz, but we called him Butcher. Another prisoner killed him here in the laundry room." Unquote. Prison records confirmed that Maldowitz was killed by another inmate in the laundry area of cell block C. In the old hospital ward, park personnel has often heard voices and the screams of inmates who were often secured to a table until they were calmed down. Voices are also heard in the old mesh hall. When Al Capone was in prison at Alcatraz, he was assigned to a cell located on the outer west end of cell block B. Though the gangster was never allowed a musical instrument or a radio, many have reported the sound of a phantom banjo strumming within his cell. The tales of ghostly hauntings upon Alcatraz Island have become so frequent that the legends have become as popular as the island's long history. Seemingly, the paranormal prison is destined to live up to its popular nickname, Hellcatraz. Many people have even written books about the ghost sightings and paranormal events that have happened here. Many television shows talk about it, and many psychics have walked its walls and reported many spirits that walk the grounds, good and bad. 3 guards were brutally killed by the inmates in the 1930s. William Miller, Royal C. Klein, and Harold P. Sipes. People experience massive spiderweb feelings, disorientation, vertigo, dizziness, heightened emotions, heavy energy, and trouble breathing. Investigators have picked up lots of EVPs, but most are concentrated in the infirmary and hydrotherapy rooms. They have also got photos of orbs throughout the facility. So that's going to do it for my video on Ghosts of Alcatraz. I hope you enjoyed this video. And it also raises a question. If you were given an offer to spend the night in Alcatraz, no, let's not say one night, let's say a weekend. You know, let's say a Friday night and a Saturday night inside Alcatraz, you and a small group of people, your own paranormal investigation equipment. Would you do it? Would you allow yourself to be locked in there for like a whole weekend? I would. I would do it in a heartbeat. I think it would be awesome. You know, you could like, can you imagine like you do that for a weekend and then you like order DoorDash? That would be hilarious. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. Yeah, I doubt they would deliver, but hey, you never know, right? It's California. Who knows? All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Spooky Marshmallow. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And remember, stay spooky, my friends.